Hello everyone, welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses, and well, I hope you like support conversations because we've got a lot of them today. Because as I said before, when you get to time skip, if you've been, just interacting with the characters enough, you'll pretty much get straight to Ace support, and now we're reflecting on each of them. We've got quite a few to get to. It's mostly Byleth focused though. So, it's mostly the Byleth one, so it's going to be more about, focusing on the characters individually rather than two characters, just working off each other. I swear to God, there's one thing I can appreciate. Again, I've said this many times. I can really appreciate Three Houses for its facial animations, not just with the lip syncing, but the way the lips and the face contorts, and especially around the eyes. Like I saw it with Edelgard, you see it just now with Petra. They really get the emotion out. It's really, 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 really good stuff. And again, even the way they embarrassed or surprised is really, really good. So this one's really interesting with Petra, because Petra for the longest time was actually, was more than happy to do what she had to do to help, even though she was hostage, she was happy to do what she had to do to help out Bridget and make it seem good in the Empire's eyes and stuff like that. But now that we're at wartime, it's a lot more difficult for her. It's like, I'm still working with the Empire, but we did fight against them once, and now that I am, they're probably a lot more suspicious of me. But she's still doing it to help make Bridget look good, because, now she has a real chance. If she fights alongside the Empire, Bridget will seem even better in the Empire, so there's more, there's more pressure on her, but the result will probably be better. And now you get into what Petra really wants, because the thing that's interesting about Petra is that a lot of the times when people and characters are like, oh, I have to do this for my family's sake, obviously you can tell they're not happy with the thing. But Petra never came off like that. She just adjusted to it and is more than happy to do this for the sake of her people, and that's what I really like about her. But clearly there's something she wants more, so she's got to find that. And currently she doesn't know, because she's been so just easygoing with this current approach, but now there's more pressure on her. Obviously, her personal feelings are going to start to get in the way. So it's an interesting way it comes full circle. Like, she was very happy and complacent to do what was needed to be done, but now that the stakes are so much higher, she starts to really think about, what do I really want out of this? And that's what I find fascinating. It's really, really great stuff. Again, I love these characters. And even though, I prefer Edelgard and Dorothea, I will not deny, I really love Petra. She is such a beautiful, lovely character. And now you even get Ferdinand's take on it, because of the situation. Because the fact that now... Oh, well, first of all, he's just practicing his Alucard swordplay. Oh, please, we're not children. But what's interesting now is because obviously beforehand, Ferdinand saw himself as like, oh, I'm superior to Edelgard, my house is more, we're this house and so on. But now that Edelgard has ascended and she's literally like, yo, you're working for me, it kind of comes crashing down. Like, Ferdinand's like, oh my god, I'm working for her. It's like, my house is not equal anymore. And so on. It's like, I'm supposed to be the one leading her, but she's leading me. And obviously, he thought he was better in that regard. So now that the reality kicks in on him, it's kind of difficult to come by. Yeah, and it's like, it's difficult for Ferdinand. For the longest time, he thought he was equal to, if not superior to Edelgard, but... this is the reality. I mean, he doesn't quite cast that he is equal to Edelgard. They each just have their differences, and it's just, Edelgard took the initiative, and she, she's really following through with her ideals. Ferdinand's got different ideals. He's not the type to be an emperor.
Not once since our days at the academy have I
and again, now that looking back, he's reflecting. He's just like, oh, for God's sake, why?
She did not even see me as a contender. She did not even
it's kind of that thing where you try so hard in Ferdinand's case, but then when the reality kicks in, it's just like, oh, fuck nuggets. Yeah.
But all my efforts have come to nothing.
And in the end, that's the thing too, he's tried so hard, but in the end, Edelgard's like, oh, whatever. I mean, and you see it as a support that Edelgard does think highly of him and does need people like him on his side. It's just that, Ferdinand's a bit delusional about the thing. He thought he was superior in every way, rather than just judging, rather just seeing as equals and judging on an individual basis, and not using his status just to propel himself forward. Not in a bad way, it's just, again, Ferdinand kind of has a bad case of, I keep bringing this up, but people in Three Houses sometimes have a really bad case of tunnel vision. Fire Emblem tunnel vision, that's what it should be called. Everyone's got a really bad case of it. But then again, tunnel vision happens to all of us. So it's good to see the characters because obviously not everyone, for some characters the time skip is a good thing, like, Marianne and Bernadetta, but not everyone. Oh yeah, so this is an interesting thing which I thought was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Wait a moment.
So obviously, you know, Edelgard had Randolph and this other woman as her general. I can't remember her name. But, you know, Randolph has a little sister that you talk to, and you see her, and you speak to her a few times. Felice, yeah, she's really, really cute, and stuff like that. And, you know, they actually give them quite a few lines of dialogue to make them seem like actual characters. One thing I feel is a huge missed opportunity is that you can't actually recruit or, support with them, which I think is really, really, really sad, which is because again they seem like interesting characters. Also, it would be interesting to explore supports with people that purely work for the Empire rather than you having, you know, have a personal connection with these students or the other teachers. So I think that would have been cool to like more of an outsider perspective, because then you speak to them many times. They're not just one and done. I think that was a real missed opportunity for the Black Eagles, but it is what it is. Oh yes, Bernadetta's gone. So yeah, this one's really, really sweet too, because obviously now that Bernadetta's left home and she's not tied down by her parents or anything like that, she can be more of who she is and she's more outgoing, but she's not fully recovered because, like she said, well, she goes into this, if you're not there, it's difficult. With you there, it's a lot easier. Which again, I like, because again, when it comes to these types of struggles, or like these issues that people have, and they're so deep-rooted, you don't just instantly recover from them. Granted, she's had 5 years. That was 5 years without you, and during wartime. It's clearly showing. She just looks more upbeat and happy. She just, like, the way she presents herself, the way she acts, she is a lot happier, and she is a lot more confident. But she still has to work out some of these issues. You know, even though it has been a horrible experience, at the same time it has helped Bernadetta because it's kind of forced her to come out of her shell, be on the front lines, be out there, and so on. But you know, and while it has helped her, all that deep-rooted anxiety, paranoia still lies within her. And you know, knowing Bernadetta, it's not going to leave her anytime soon. It might be permanent, but she's finding it easier to work around it. But obviously, she still has her limits. Like, as you said, you can't go anywhere by herself. Anywhere new. And again, one thing I love about Bernie, especially in the portrait, she's one of the most expressive characters in Three Houses, and I really love it, because I just love, like, when she looks angry, she looks fucking pissed. Like, she looks like she's about to pout. And again, I like to see this character development, and I think the 5-year time skip works with them, because it wouldn't work if it was just a small amount of time, or by the end of, like, pre-time skip, she was absolutely fine. I like that the 5 years gives the characters enough time to change and reflect, and it works in this game's favour.
What's the purpose? Why can't you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I still think, again, to this day, Three Houses is my favourite cast, and I don't say that lightly, because I love the Fire Emblem cast. Next to Three Houses, before Three Houses, Awakening was my favourite. I love the Awakening cast, and again, the Tellia's cast, fantastic. Well, they also had 2 games to flesh them out. Even though, well, some only had 1, unfortunately. So, who's next? Oh, it's Caspar. And again, this one with Caspar's going into what happened with the Scorpion Gang, and how, like, it's coming back to bite him. I mean, ultimately, you know,
Remember that suspicious guy
at the end of the day, you know, it's one of those things that you didn't know this was going to happen. You can't really blame yourself for it, but obviously he's still getting beaten up because, like, oh, if I acted differently. It's one of those, if I had acted differently in the past, how would it have changed? It would have led to a better future, hopefully. And, you know, there's all that regret. There are many things in the past I wish that I did or did not do. But you just got to learn to live with it and move on, and hopefully not make that mistake again.
Our soldiers are highly trained.
And obviously it eats at Caspar. And again, I love that what they really do with Caspar. Instead of making him just, I just focus on fighting, he, more than a lot of people, really takes, you know, things to heart. You know, stuff that happened with Dagda and Bridget, what happens with these people. Yeah, he can be a bit thick-headed at times, but when it hits him hard, and, you know, he really takes deep root in him, and it affects him greatly.
Don't mention it.
And I think that shows a really sensitive and kind side to him. The fact that he's so moved by all this stuff, for better and worse.
Heck of a coincidence, right? As soon as I mention that suspicious guy, this happens.
I mean, this is only the B support. Obviously, and with Caspar, it's not, again, it eats away at him. Yeah, they did kind of fix the situation. They did deal with the gang, but, you know, and at the same time, back then you don't know. If he did act that way, if it was a different situation, he acted the same way, it would have maybe been for the worse.
But he probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Now those nights, we both know it.
And obviously, you know, it's really up at that poor guy. It's not easy to deal with, especially when something so tragic happens because of your actions. Yeah. So wait, who's next? Oh, I was just talking to more people. I'm trying to remember. Who? Oh, it's Dorothea. Yes.
Professor,
As soon as it loads, sorry. I was like, this is a weird delay.
this may seem a bit sudden, but
But, well, again, that's one of the things I really like about Dorothea. Of all the people in this game, you can see the war really got to her. Because she's a lot more pessimistic than before.
fewer of those soul-revealing gazes.
Like, again, when she talks about fighting, like, she really doesn't want to be a part of it. Because Dorothea was never, like, a fighter. She just got into the academy, you know, hoping to, you know, think. Obviously, she had to fight for her life by common thugs and, you know, all those types of people. But she was never, like, a warrior like Ferdinand was, or Casper was, or even Petra and, you know, Dudu, and even, like, Sylvain and Ingrid. She was never one of those. And now that she's stuck in this war, it's really, really difficult for her. I mean, yeah, she's had it hard growing up, but now that, you know, she's thrown back into a world of hardship. It's like it won't ever leave. And you know, because of the war, there's no time to focus on love, and she might die. You know, it's so difficult. You know, life is so difficult now, and she doesn't have much time left before what she feels is her charm leaves her. So it's really interesting to see how much, you know, this war affects people, because again, it's really taking a toll on her personal life, and I think that's what's so interesting. It's less about, it's not so much about, I just don't want to fight this war because, you know, I might die and it's causing other people. It's like, no, I don't want to fight because, you know, I've tried so hard to avoid any type, you know, to avoid a harsh lifestyle, and I'm being thrust back into it. And depending on how long the war goes on for, I mean, you know, by the time it's done, I may have missed my opportunity.
Right where I'd started.
And again, she doesn't want to be old, alone, and back on the streets. It's just really, really, really interesting.
Even if you are just flirting. I never had much to begin with in life.
I mean, yeah, it's just,
one day
you know, and I really like how Fire Emblem does get into the personal side of things. Or Three Houses, they really go into these personal struggles, because for a lot of characters it is personal, especially ones that aren't tied to noble families as much, or have, you know, really deep-rooted issues to deal with. A lot of them do. Obviously, not all of them do. A lot of them, some of them a bit more carefree, like Hilda, but a lot of them, you know, it's really, really hard for them to come to terms with just this lifestyle. Okay, so with the Linhardt one, I made a bit of a mistake. I accidentally skipped the entire thing. So I've used footage from Just One Gamer as a way of, you know, just, obviously it's the pre-time skip one, you know, it's supposed to be post, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do?
Why do we fight until we die? Why do we
yeah, now this one is very, very interesting, because obviously Linhardt's a more detached, more mellow person, and obviously the only thing he really cares about is quest research. But, you know, and then obviously, you know, now that, you know, that he's in the academy, obviously he wants to study quests as much as possible, but he still has an obligation to fight in this war. And because he has a fear of blood and everything, and just his, like, attitude towards life, it's really, really takes its toll on him. He doesn't like it. Because again, he feels, why can't we just be diplomatic? Why can't we just talk things out? And he has a good point. Why can't we just talk things out? But obviously, not everyone feels that way. And when he's thrown into that lifestyle,
someone's life for a bit of honor and glory.
And again, he's going into this whole honor and glory thing. It's like, honor and glory is ultimately nothing when you really think about it, because it doesn't, like, there is no, like, physical, what do you call it?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Because the thing is, it's showing all scenarios, so yeah.
That's a foolish
Sorry. But anyway.
Glory? Even worse.
As in, they're not like physical things that you can, you know, make use out of. They're more of an emotional thing. But obviously, Linhardt can't really understand that. But again, I like seeing this vulnerable side to him, just because, you know, it's like the way he questions his quest research, the way the war really gets to him. Because again, wartime is never easy for anyone. War, you know, it gets to everyone. Even if you don't fight directly, you know, sometimes maybe the battlefield, the battle gets to reach your homeland. Maybe sometimes because of the battle, you know, supplies are cut off, or you're cut off from friends and family, or certain rules are put in place that affect you. You know, war gets to us all. Yeah, it's one of those things. And it's just really, really, really cool to see how Three Houses handles that. Because in before, we really haven't... Because again, because of how Fire Emblem has been, and it's more like fast-paced approach, whereas Three Houses is a lot more laid back, because you have that downtime. You really get to see just how, like, and Path of Radiance did this quite a few times, and I like it. I really like it because of that. You really get to see how the war affects the people on an individual basis, because it's never, never, never easy. And again, I like Path of Radiance did that. You saw how Day in Crimea and so on were suffering because of the war and the people. And again, it was really damn cool. So I like that this game really goes to town with that. Obviously with some characters doesn't get to them as much and they've got different like issues to deal with, but you know, there are a lot of characters that are affected by this. And now, oh, this is Shamir. And this one,
Thanks for your help out there. Battles tend to go smooth.
Again, I like the Shamir-Byleth relationship because, again, they're essentially cut from the same cloth, and you know, being a mercenary, coming to the, you know, just mainly just being a mercenary and being enrolled in the monastery. But you got the special treatment, and she didn't. But obviously, you know, you earn her trust, and you being a mercenary helps because you know, it's like war and everything is a universal language.
I've also noticed that you've been putting me in more precarious
situations lately. Well, it's like, well, Shamir, it's kind of like you're the best archer in this game. Well, I won't deny that I am quite wonderful. I mean, you've seen my stats and my skills. I'm pretty damn awesome. All I'm missing now is a relic. Honest to God, if she had like some sort of bow relic, holy shit.
I knew you were doing it on purpose. You're in a very
but again, I like Shamir's attitude. She's not like a dull stick in the mud. She's just very laid back and cool. Like Dedue, she's just laid back and cool. I mean, Dedue is different because again, he's like got a lot of prejudice to deal with because of who he is. Shamir, not so much. She is from Dagda, but it's not as big as like being from Dusker. Yeah, and I like her attitude towards things. She's just very chill with people, and she's a very chill, cool woman, and I think that's cool. I honestly got to do, yeah.
I was left to wander Fodlan alone, but I guess meeting you was my prize. You look confused.
So I'm just kind of enjoying the support conversation.
Land of Dagda up until the
and obviously we're learning, you know,
But being a mercenary, I have no real.
And obviously, you know, Shamir's like, because of her lifestyle, unlike characters like, you know, Petra, she's not so tied to her homeland. She just kind of strolls through life, if you will. I think that was the last one. And then it's just like other... Yeah, we get to just see other supports. So, this one... Yeah. Oh god, this one. This is interesting. This is where, you know, this whole thing about Ferdinand's, you know, the difference between them and Ferdinand's reality starts to really kick in. Because it's like, it's one thing to, you know, be, you know, competitive with someone as a rival. It's another thing to literally just shove it in their faces.
Do you see this blood red bloom?
And that's the Ferdinand's problem. It's like, Ferdinand, shut up. Like, if it was just like, oh, you're admiring the bloom. It's like, what do you, what do you think of this one? She's just like, you know, just a casual chat. But he's being confrontational about it, and it's ridiculous.
I can't believe you're wasting my time with a petty, one-sided rivalry.
Yeah, again, it's also usually rivalries, unless it's Pokemon, because you really have no say. Usually rivalries, you know, they kind of agree on it. It's like, yo, let's both be rivals. But for Ernest, like, I'm your rival. I was like, I don't really want to be. It's like, well, I'm your rival. Whatever.
You so desperately desire.
And now they fight to the death.
I win. You must forfeit the right to bother me with your ridiculousness.
But, you know, it's not that Ferdinand is a bad person. It is good that he does confront Edelgard. The problem is, and he doesn't realize about this, he's confronting her when there's no need to. Like, again, when Edelgard is talking and she wants active discussion, that's fine. Don't just approach someone and confront them. And, wow.
It only took you one blow?
How? Have you seen my attack stat? Yeah. But then, this is another thing that's interesting about the relationship. Edelgard doesn't see him as lesser, because she even admits, if you struck first, you would have probably beaten me. I couldn't give you that chance. It's not like, oh, I beat you because you're just so much weaker. She's just saying, I saw your strength, I didn't want to lose, I'm gonna go all in.
The difference in our skill level is not so great as all.
Yeah, again, she openly admits that, and I think that's cool. Edelgard is pretty humble.
That's why
because again, a lot of these things is like, oh, you were weak, you need to train yourself. It's like, no, I just happened to get the upper hand. It's kind of a 60-40, if you will. Ferdinand could have easily won, and hey, give him a rapier and he'll definitely win.
You were not.
But obviously, you know, the reality then kicks in, just how quickly, because obviously he thought, oh, maybe this will be a long, drawn-out duel, I'll analyze this happen. It's like, no, you just lost. Because again, she takes this very seriously. So, whew, that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. And, you know, we've still got more supports to come. But anyway, I hope that you're enjoying this. And again, I'm really loving just looking back at the post-time skip, how the characters change. But next time, I think we've got a few more supports to go through. And then we start the next mission and we start Edelgard's complete conquest of Fodlan. Until then, thank you all very much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care and have a wonderful day.